Welcome back to another episode of Amazing Animation Analysis. In today's episode, we'll talk about an anime that's very dear to my heart, Golden Boy. I saw this show way back when I was just a 14-year-old boy. In those days, every Friday night, Canal Plus would show an anime on TV. Most of these were oriented towards adults. Since I wasn't able to see them late at night, I would secretly record them and see them the next morning. I never knew what kind of anime it would be, or if it would be any good. It was like a little Saturday morning surprise. And you can imagine my surprise when one morning I pressed play on the VCR and found Golden Boy. It was amazing, it was funny, it was very perverted, and I was very much 14. But Golden Boy isn't about this. It's not about this. It ain't. For you see, behind the jokes and the perversion lies something else. A story with a heart, with passion, and the fun of studying. Not like that. I'll explain. Golden Boy is about Kintaro Oe, a 25-year-old easygoing temp who travels Japan working all kinds of jobs. These include computer programming, teaching, making ramen, and even helping out an animation studio. Kintaro travels in order to study about life, his main expression being 勉強になるな, which roughly translates to what a learning experience. Each episode of Golden Boy begins with Kintaro working on a new job, where there always seem to be beautiful women. And Kintaro is a pervert. He can't control himself around these women, which usually gets him into a lot of trouble. But Kintaro has some good points too. He's passionate, responsible, kind, and he loves to learn. These are the traits that get him out of trouble and change the lives of the people around him, which also results in the beautiful women falling in love with him. But by the time they want to express their feelings to Kintaro, he's ready to keep traveling and move on to a new job to further his studies. Golden Boy shaped my life! I wanted to be Kintaro Oe, riding around, meeting interesting people, and going on an adventure. At the time it pulled me in with its sexy, funny sexiness, but it secretly taught me the value of being passionate, responsible, and to always be learning. It is in no small part that Golden Boy made me the person I am today. To me, Golden Boy was my guide for life. So how does Golden Boy do it? How did it create a story that sticks and can have such an impact on someone's life? One of the factors is the animation. But in this episode, I want to take a step back and focus on the storytelling. In this episode, I want to focus on 3 topics in particular: having a point, characters you can empathize with, and telling the truth. So let's see how Golden Boy nails all these 3 points and creates a guide for life. And to do just that, we'll analyze the very first episode. In the first episode, Kintaro is on his way to a new job opening while riding his trusty mountain bike, when he suddenly gets taken over by a Ferrari. And wouldn't you know it, out steps a beautiful girl. She nonchalantly gives him 1,000,000 yen for the damages. He can't accept such a huge sum, but the lady doesn't want to have anything to do with him and takes off. What a learning experience! He takes his bike to a repair shop and gets it fixed for free. When Kintaro is about to leave, some Yakuza arrive who start to bully the shop owner. He apparently owes them some money. And at that moment, Kintaro turns around and isn't prone to violence. He jots some details down in his sketchbook and sees this as quite a learning experience. He arrives at the new job opening for a software development company, and it just so happens to be run by all girls. And lo and behold, in classic anime fashion, the president of the company is the beautiful girl from before. And Kintaro gets assigned to toilet duty. And there, he imagines all the girls that sit on the toilet, and he starts to caress the toilet. And more. Which is what anyone would do in this situation. He gets caught by the president and is about to be fired when he gives her a passionate speech about computers and loving to learn. She buys it and she allows him to show off what he knows about computers. And it turns out he's way in over his head. Because of his excitability, he gets into some more trouble, but he once again pleads with her, saying he'll do any job without pay. She gives him a 3rd chance and he's allowed to work there as long as he doesn't bother anyone. And the learning begins. After some learning sessions, one evening he notices some computers are still on. Kintaro, wanting to save the company money, unplugs the main server, deleting all the programs that the company was working on. The president finds out and is furious, and she rips up his prized notebook. Kintaro tells her his notebook is even more important than his life, but after accidentally seeing what he wrote about her, she never wants to see him again. Kintaro asks for forgiveness, commenting he can't leave after causing so much trouble. But after finding out he already spent the 1,000,000 yen she gave him, presumably on sex, and this altercation, it's all over. Kintaro is fired and the computer company faces the biggest crisis they ever had. It's a week later and they can't make the deadline in time. But they do find a program on the server that's exactly to the client's wishes. It even has some interesting concepts that they didn't think of before. It was made by Kintaro, and the president admits that he's more responsible and forgiving than what she gave him credit for. She tries to run after him, meets the old bike shop owner, finds out Kintaro gave the $1,000,000 to them, and with all that, she falls in love. She tries to go after Kintaro, but he's already off to a new job to learn more about life. So now that we've seen the first episode, let's talk about the first topic, having a point. In Brian McDonald's book, Invisible Ink, he says, stories need to have a point, a reason to tell the story. Having a point gives your story resonance, showing examples of long-lasting stories like the wolf in sheep's clothing, where a wolf wears a sheepskin in order to blend in with the sheep, only to be eaten by the herder. The story of King Midas, who wished to turn everything he touched into gold, only to realize his food would turn into gold as well. And many more. How the wolf shows us to watch out for people pretending who they aren't, and King Midas showing us not to be greedy. Stories need to have a point to resonate. So at first glance, it seems like this is a guide to get girls to like you, which is how I got interested in it in the first place. But that's just looking at the surface. The point the episode makes is this: even with all your flaws, if you give it your all, your good side will always shine through. In the end, it's through Kintaro's passion, kindness, and willingness to study that he changed the people around him. And the reason this resonates so well is because of the second topic I want to talk about, the characters we can empathize with and the drama they create. In Hirohiko Araki's book, Manga in Theory and Practice, he says the most important part of a character is their motivation. If you leave your character's motivation vague, your readers won't be able to empathize with them. What does Kintaro want to accomplish? He wants to study about life. This is what drives the story and harks back to a basic human desire: self-development, becoming stronger. But humans are more than just motivation. Humans are flawed and they have values. Kintaro is extremely perverted. He can't help himself in being a pervert. This is his big flaw. The good points in him are his avidness to learn, his sense of responsibility, a kind heart, and passion. His flaw is the worst, but his good points are something to be inspired by. And like how we all are flawed, maybe not in the same way, we also try to do good, which doesn't always work out. This is how we can relate and empathize with Kintaro. It's a great main character. And why does this dramatize well in animation? Because it's so over the top. One of the strongest parts in Golden Boy is its faces, strong emotions. Kintaro is not in trouble. He's in deep shit. The president isn't just angry, she's furious. We can relate so much more to these characters. In animation, the point you make can be as exaggerated as you want it to be. And that brings me to the final topic. The story needs to be believable to be able to resonate. That means telling the truth. In every storytelling book, there's one key phrase: tell the truth. This is done by being true to life, to the characters, and to the story. We might be appalled that Kintaro thinks about a girl's butt being on a toilet, but maybe, and probably, you've had equally perverted thoughts in your life, but not you. And that makes it funny because we can relate and empathize. The show has the raw honesty of human nature. That's being true to life. But what does it mean to be true to a character? It isn't about facts. It means being true to the initial setup. And the setup can be anything. It could be a schoolboy with psychic powers that just wants to be popular. A stoic hero using ghost-like apparitions to fight. Or a pervert that bikes across Japan in order to study. If you set up a character in a certain way, that character needs to act true to itself. A great example of being true to a character happens in Mob Psycho. Mob's motivation is acceptance. He wants a girl to like him. In episode 2, there's an after-school telepathy club that's about to shut down. They need one more member to survive, or the room will be taken over by the Body Improvement Club. They try everything to get more members, but they fail. Eventually, when they find out Mob has psychic powers, they set their eyes on him. The entire episode allures the Mob joining the telepathy club. But Mob wants acceptance. These people don't accept him for who he is. They want to use his psychic powers for their own gain, and they need a 5th member just so their club doesn't die out. Also, Mob wants a girl to like him, and he thinks becoming strong will make him more popular. That's why, in an act true to himself, he joins the Body Improvement Club, which welcomes him with open arms. It's a great bit, and it's 100% true to the character of Mob. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has an example of an untruthful scene. The main character is fighting against an enemy, and he's in a jam. There's perceivably no way for him to win. But out of nowhere, he uses a new ability that wins him the fight, a move he's never used before. The setup wasn't there, the character didn't train for it, it seemed like he got a helping hand by the creator, and it felt a bit fake. That wasn't truthful to the character. Sorry JoJo, I still love you. Kintaro stays Kintaro no matter what, and that's especially seen in his flaw. He can't control himself, so he can never control himself. To the extreme. He doesn't want to accept a huge sum of money, so he gives it away. He doesn't want to cause trouble, so he doesn't want to leave after causing so much trouble. He loves studying, so he loves studying. And his love for studying goes so far that he can make a computer program within a week. Every choice he makes is a choice that only Kentaro would make. It stays true to the character. Being true to the story means giving the other side of your point a voice too. If Kentaro was perfect, and the point of the show was this, just be perfect and give it your all. Then, you'll change the lives of the people around you for the better. Not only would that be very preachy, but it's not truthful. People aren't perfect and the audience knows it. In Robert McKee's story, he calls this idea versus counter-idea. Golden Boy is making a case for being a pervert, or having bad character, versus passion, learning, responsibility and kindness, or having good character. It's kind of like an ongoing fight. He gets caught rubbing his face against a toilet bowl, bad character. He doesn't get fired because of his passionate speech, good character. Perversion, willingness to learn. Perversion, responsibility, and a kind heart. And in taking turns, it's a fight to see which one comes out on top. And the end symbolizes the winner. And the stronger your counterpoint is, the stronger the winning side becomes. And because he gets into such deep trouble, it strengthens the winning side so much more. And with all that, Golden Boy doesn't say, you can just mess around, be perverted, and still be a good person. No, you need to be passionate, keep learning, take responsibility and be kind. When you possess these qualities, you can change the people around you for the better. And that's how Golden Boy makes a point that resonates so well. While the sexy, funny, sexy entered my brain as a kid, it secretly gave me a guide for life. And Golden Boy made that guide be in reach. If even someone as flawed as Kentaro can do it, so can I. If I'm willing to learn, if I'm passionate and kind, I can get there too. And you can too. There's unlimited potential out there. We just need to get on our bikes and do it. You can become amazing at animation or whatever you choose. Kentaro did it, and so can you. Today we may be a weak bug that gets tossed in the wind, washed away by the currents and drowns. But tomorrow we may become the butterfly that spreads its colossal wings and flies to the open skies.